Hi, friends. This is the reading lesson for third grade. We are going to finish reading One Body, Many Adaptations. Yesterday, we read the introduction. We read about penguins and how they survive in their icy ocean water. And we read about octopuses and how they survive in the ocean water as well. Today, we are going to read about the camel, and then we will go ahead and read our conclusion to finish off. So we're going to have the same format as yesterday. We will be reading a section, then you'll pause the video and highlight what you find to be important. And then we will go ahead and write main ideas at the very end. All right, so if you're ready, we will get started. You should be open to page 26 and you need a pencil and a highlighter. Here we go.
Body parts to survive.
Whoops, sorry about that, friends. Here we go.
The camel. Dry deserts are home to the camel. There are two kinds of camels, the Arabian camel or dromedary, and the Bactrian camel. Both types have many structural adaptations for surviving in deserts. Camels have thick fur that changes in summer and winter. Even desert temperatures get very low in winter, so a camel's fur grows long to keep its body warm. In summer, a camel's fur sheds so the camel stays cool. Its body covering helps it survive. Camels use camouflage to keep safe, too. Sand covers much of the desert. A camel's brown-colored fur blends in with the sand. This makes the camel harder to spot.
Camels grow their hair in winter and shed it in summer.
All right, so here we started learning about the camel, and we know that the camel lives in the dry desert. There are two kinds, and then we learn a couple things about their bodies that help them survive in that dry desert. So go ahead and pause the video right now and highlight what you find to be important in these three paragraphs. So again, it's probably important to mention that dry deserts are home to the camel, that there are two kinds of camels. And if you highlighted the specific kinds, that's totally fine. We know that they have some sort of structural adaptations to help them survive, just like all animals do. We learned about their thick fur. So they have thick fur that changes in the summer and the winter. Now, even though they're in a desert, it gets very cold in the winter. So in the winter, they need their fur to grow long to keep its body warm. But then in the summer, it sheds its fur, right? So it can help it stay cool. All right. Then we also learned that they use camouflage, that since sand covers most of the desert, a camel's brown colored fur blends in with the sand. Very clever. Okay, let's go ahead and keep reading. Turn the page.
Body parts to survive. All camels have humps on their backs. An Arabian camel has one hump. A Bactrian has two. Why do camels need humps? Water in hot, dry deserts is limited or scarce, so camels store fat in their humps. A camel's body can change the fat into water when needed. Like some other desert animals, camels don't sweat. This allows their bodies to hold fluids for a long time. These structural adaptations allow camels to travel up to 160 kilometers, about 100 miles, without a sip of water. When camels do drink, reports the website Live Science, they can soak up 115 liters, about 30 gallons of water in 13 minutes. When camels get low on fat and water is not available, they eat desert plants. Cactuses are thorny desert plants that hold a lot of water. Camels have large, thick, leathery lips, which help them eat these spiky plants. Deserts are often windy with sand blowing. The San Diego Zoo reports that camels have bushy eyebrows and 2 layers of eyelashes to keep sand from their eyes. Their nostrils close to keep sand out of their noses, too.
All right, how cool. It talks about the San Diego Zoo. That's our zoo, the best in the land. Okay, so there are quite a few paragraphs about the body parts of a camel. So we know that all camels have humps, whether they have one or two, and these humps serve a purpose. So it says camels store fat in their humps. So go ahead and highlight that, and that'll get you started. And then I want you to pause the video and highlight the rest of what you find to be important about these camels. Okay, so we said camels store fat in their humps. A camel's body can change the fat into water when needed. Crazy. And since they don't sweat, their bodies hold on to fluids for a long time. Super cool. Okay, now they also are able to travel up to 100 miles. So kilometers is not what we use to measure distance. We use miles. They can go 100 miles without a sip of water in that hot desert. It's amazing, right? And that when they do drink water, they drink about 30 gallons of water in 13 minutes. Wow! Crazy. Okay, so when they get low on their fat and water is not available, so they can't turn their fat into water and they can't find any water, they eat desert plants. And one of those desert plants is a cactus, which holds water, right? So even though cactuses have those little spikes and thorns on them, they have large, thick, leathery lips, which help them eat the spiky plants. And then let's go down to where it talks about the San Diego Zoo. It says San Diego Zoo reports that camels have bushy eyebrows and 2 layers of eyelashes to keep sand from their eyes. The desert is full of windiness and sand, right? And their nostrils close to keep the sand out of their noses. So fascinating, right? Okay, let's take a look at our chart right here. So in our chart, it talks about the 3 different types of adaptations: camouflage, body parts, and body covering. So they're camouflage, they're tan and brown in color to help blend in with the desert sand. Their humps store fat to be used as water. They have large, tough lips to eat those thorny plants. Their nostrils close to keep sand out of their noses. And they have bushy eyebrows and 2 layers of eyelashes to keep the sand out of their eyes. And then they have that long fur, so it keeps them warm in the cold winters, and then they shed it when it is hot in the summer, and the camels are able to stay cool. So fascinating. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to read the rest of our story, paragraphs 21 and 22, and then we'll go back and write our main ideas.
Surviving in different environments. Octopuses live deep in the ocean. Penguins swim safely in cold water. Camels survive in the hot, dry desert. Adaptations help these animals live in very different environments. Animals have many adaptations to help them survive. Body coverings help keep animals warm or cool, allowing them to live in cold or hot places. Camouflage helps them hunt for food and keeps them safe from predators. Different structural adaptations help them eat, hunt, and live in different environments. For these animals, their adaptations all mean one thing: survival.
All right, so we're going to write, first, we need to highlight anything that we find to be important in these 2 paragraphs. So go ahead and pause the video and highlight what you think is important in paragraphs 21 and 22. All right. So we pretty much have learned that these three animals have adaptations that help them live in their environments. And they're all very different adaptations in very different environments. And we know that all animals have adaptations to help them survive. We know there's body coverings. We know there's camouflage, and they have different structural adaptations to help them eat, hunt, and live in their different environment. So, all of these things are hugely important for their survival. So, make sure you highlight survival as well. Without these adaptations, these animals would not be able to survive in the place that they live. Okay, so you can put the cap on your highlighter. We are going to write a main idea. We're actually going to start by writing a main idea for paragraphs 21 and 22. And basically, what we're going to say is we are going to list our three animals, and then we're just going to say that they have adaptations that help them survive in different environments, kind of like what we highlighted right here. But we're not going to copy, we're going to put it in our own words. So, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to say octopuses, comma, penguins, comma, and camels have adaptations that help them survive, whoops, in different environments. I like the word habitat, actually, in different habitats. Okay, so if you need to pause the video and write that, please do so right now. Otherwise, we're going to keep going. We're going to write one more main idea for camels. And this main idea is going to be very similar to your one for penguin and your one for octopuses. So I'm going to kind of scroll back and I'm going to look. So we said a penguin's body covering has body parts and a penguin's body covering, body parts, and camouflage help it survive in the icy ocean water. An octopus's body covering, body parts, and camouflage help it survive in the ocean. So we are going to write a very similar main idea for camels. And you are actually going to write this on your own. So you need to tell me the three different adaptations that they use and what the animal is and what their habitat is. If you're in Mrs. Peterson's class, you're going to write this in your booklet and then you're going to submit it to me in a Canvas assignment as well. If you're in Mrs. Smith's class, you may or may not do this. All right, so get writing on that main idea. If you need to look back at penguins or octopuses, that'll help. And once you are done, then you are done. Thanks, friends. We'll see you later.